everybody. It's Tim again, and today I am bringing you an action figure 30 years in the making. Yes, an actual action figure of Steven Spielberg, and I say 30 years in the making because that's how long it's been since Jurassic Park debuted in theaters. It actually debuted on June 11th, 1993. Of course, Steven Spielberg's been around a lot longer than this, but to join these wonderful Jurassic Park action figures in front of you, Mattel came up with a wonderful idea for this year's San Diego Comic-Con. They actually produced a figure of Steven Spielberg from the filming of Jurassic Park. 1992, the clapboard, as you noticed, is dated, and this obviously is an ingenious idea. It is actually shaped like a clapboard. Now, this was available at San Diego Comic-Con, or maybe you could just pre-order it there, but fortunately for us, Mattel Creations made it available to buy online as well. So I snatched this thing up within a minute that it went on sale. And it was on sale for a few days before it eventually sold out. So $30 I got this for, plus the shipping. I don't know, it might have been around $40 or whatever. But now the only place you're really going to get it is eBay. But quickly, before we get to the figure, this thing was extremely well packaged. Okay, starting with the actual shipping box on the right. Over here, we had another box there that is a Mattel Creations packaging. And then, of course, in the middle is a Jurassic Park packaging that actually held this box. So, again, I am really happy that Mattel took extreme care in bringing us this figure. And here we go, turning it around. Steven Spielberg, and I pardon the actual reflections and everything. I'm going to take this out of the box so you can see it better anyway. But there he is behind the camera. He's got the director's chair. And, of course, he has one of the ferocious dinosaurs from Jurassic Park there as well. This is part of the Hammond collection, which, of course, Dr. John Hammond, played by the late Richard Attenborough. They put him out as a figure. Actually, he was a figure that was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive himself with some really cool extras. But fortunately, for those who couldn't get their hands on that figure, he did come out in a pack along with Dr. Ellie Sattler later on with some dinosaurs as well. Before I unpackage Steven Spielberg, just want to go over the entire figure. Well, it's not the entire figure collection, but the main characters. We have Joseph Mazzello as Tim, Ariana Richards as Lex over there, Dr. Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, of course, Sir Richard Attenborough. The always great Jeff Goldblum is Dr. Ian Malcolm, and Ellie Sattler, played by Laura Dern. And we got one other fellow, Robert Peck. There we go, in the back, as Robert Muldoon. So there we go. That is just a quick look at the basics. When I get back, I am going to take this out of the packaging. It's going to be tough, but I don't know if I'm actually going to put this one back in the package to display it afterwards. Again, I'm an opener. I usually play with these things. And this time, though, it's tough. I may have to somehow get my hands on the second one. I wish I didn't do that right away because this is amongst the coolest packaging I've certainly seen this year, if not ever, for an action figure. And one more quick look at this really cool packaging here of the director's clapboard, which you can obviously use right there. So I'll be back with the unpackaged version of Steven Spielberg, the director of Jurassic Park. Okay, I'm back with the unpackaged director Steven Spielberg on the set of Jurassic Park from 1992. Of course, the film came out in 1993, and there are going to be some 30th anniversary screenings in theaters soon. So look at your calendars, depending on when you see this video, and catch it on the big screen if you did it in 1993. I certainly did. It was a memorable movie. Obviously, the dinosaurs felt real because they were real. They were the animatronic versions. They weren't the CGI versions of the dinosaurs that we were used to seeing. And the folks at Mattel, for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, paid attention to that fact, as this Dilophosaurus figure actually is on a stand that mimics an animatronic rig, which I think is really, really cool. Now, obviously, it's not detailed. I mean, obviously, if you wanted to, I suppose you could paint these wires and make it look like, something more complicated than the way it looks now. But, I would imagine that this is pretty much the way an animatronic rig looked back in the day. Heck of a lot easier now, I guess, than having people sit in front of the computer for hours generating visual effects. But, obviously this was a complicated setup too. So again, I have to give it to Mattel for recognizing that fact instead of just packing in some dinosaur. Just a fun little extra with the actual dinosaur, the Dilophosaurus, a very mean looking one at that. I suppose I should give you a quick better look at the actual dinosaur, this predator. Yeah, it's a terrific representation of a Jurassic Park dinosaur. Tail and all, it's got a lot of articulation. This is actually more rubbery. This is more hard plastic. Obviously, if you take it off the stand, you're going to get all of the articulation that you're used to with these figures, which is great. Pose it in a manner whichever you choose, whether you want them eating a character or attacking it or just chasing after Sir Ian Malcolm, Dr. Ian Malcolm. Yeah, then you can go ahead and have that done. But again, yeah, I mean, just the dinosaur alone, would I have purchased as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive? Not really. I'm really, as you can see on the table in the introduction of this video, I only have a few Jurassic Park action figures. Certainly had a lot more when my kids were younger, and I'm sure they are stashed in the basement somewhere right now. But, look, when this film, Jurassic World, came out in 2015, and Mattel started this new line that concentrated not only on the new characters, but the old characters, and you could get all of a sudden a Sam Neill or a Laura Dern or a Jeff Goldblum action figure, a Richard Attenborough action figure. It's like, all right, I'm in. This is really cool. So I mostly collected the figures of the characters, but here is Steven Spielberg in his director's chair, with a great, he's got an Art Deco t-shirt, kind of an Andy Warhol-like look at a dinosaur and the different color schemes on his shirt. And depending on how close I can get this, and I will take individual shots. There you go. That's the Steven Spielberg sculpt, which is really cool. I think it looks pretty on for Steven Spielberg's look back then. And even now, the guy obviously has been known for wearing glasses or sunglasses on set, along with a baseball cap. And there's a side look. And again, I will take still shots because it's never easy getting this stuff in focus. But there you go. Just so you get a better idea of what you're looking at here. And there he is from the backside in a sitting position. Here he is over here on the left-hand side. And what I really love, too, is the fact that we actually have a director's chair, which is really cool. Naturally, it has Steven Spielberg's name on it. And when you pop this out of the package, if you do open it, it might likely fall apart, but it will all snap into place. So don't worry if it falls apart when you get out. It's meant to do that. Okay, on the back of the director's chair, normally they have the names on the back, but this time they actually have the Jurassic Park logo, which is really cool as well. So I'm going to sit Mr. Spielberg back in his chair. And one more thing I should point out, and you might have seen it in some of the pictures they released prior to Comic-Con, his glasses actually do come off. Now, I messed with them a little bit to see if I could get them taken off before I started the camera. And you know what? I just don't want to risk it. It's such of a small, delicate piece. And I think you probably found out if you had action figures with glasses before, like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, the Sean Connery figure. Dr. Henry Jones Sr. had glasses, and those things come off, and before too long, they're missing. So I'm not going to mess with it. I will post pictures, though, from Mattel from their press release about this figure to show you what he looks like without any glasses on. Now, also here, too, is, I guess maybe you could say, an analog camera. This is the actual sort of camera they used on productions like Jurassic Park. Not too terribly long ago, 30 years ago, seems like just a day to me. So if you're my age, you probably feel the same way. So I love this too. This is an old school movie camera. Got the eyepiece that moves up and down. You know, not much more articulation there. You can move it around like so, which I am doing. You got the lens here, and of course you have the stand. Nowadays, it's all digital cameras. I would imagine they look a lot different. Depending on the format you're filming them in, you could get digital cameras that are about the size of a small car, like the IMAX stuff. So, yeah, this is really cool. $30 for what it is. Yeah, again, I wouldn't purchase this dinosaur specifically. I'm a huge fan of action figures of directors. There are a few out there. Guillermo del Toro from NECA, Quentin Tarantino from NECA. You have stuff like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni from The Mandalorian. So there are a few. Super 7 has one of Alfred Hitchcock from The Birds and Psycho, kind of like more of a generic action figure, but it does come with a crow and a butcher knife, which obviously were used in those films. So we're not seeing too much of these. In a perfect world, we would get more. There are George Lucas action figures out there as well, as a stormtrooper, as a TIE fighter pilot from the Star Wars films. But I want a Sam Raimi action figure to go with my Evil Dead action figures. I want a Tim Burton action figure to go with any action figures that have been produced from his films as well. Anything from Mars Attacks to Corpse Bride to The Nightmare Before Christmas. I want all of it. But little steps, right? We're getting there. Hopefully the popularity of an action figure like this is going to go a long way in getting similar action figures produced in the future. So let me take a pause here. I'm going to do some actual movie type, or I should say set-like poses with the Spielberg action figure, and we'll go from there. Okay, here is a shot that I set up of Steven Spielberg directing a scene where a couple of the dinosaurs are attacking a Jurassic Park Jeep. As you see, I got most of the cast members in here fighting off miniature dinosaurs or whatever. Dr. Alan Grant taking a shot at the Dilophosaurus, and another dinosaur is over there. Got a cameraman over here, and he happens to look a lot like that fella Chris Pratt from the Jurassic World movies, but you know what? I'm sure that he wouldn't have minded being a cameraman on the original Jurassic Park movie, no matter how old he was. In the back here we have Sir Richard Attenborough, obviously a great actor, but this man was also a director, so hey, it's only appropriate that we put him in Steven Spielberg's director's chair for this scene. I don't think he produced the film, but let's just for these purposes imagine that he did, and he's on set as well. So look, I love movies, but I love the aspect of movie making. And what makes this particular thing cool is that with a director like Steven Spielberg framing a shot here, as you can see, it's just kind of fun to imagine what things were like on the Jurassic Park set with all of these characters. And apart from doing a stop motion movie, I'm only going to give you a couple different poses here. But yeah, I love this. I love the fact that we're getting more action figures of actual directors here. And who else can you think of that would be a better choice for a Jurassic Park playset than Steven Spielberg himself? Like I mentioned, there are some 3 3/4-inch figures of George Lucas from Star Wars, so that wouldn't exactly look right on this particular set. But you know what? You swap out his head with the Chris Pratt body over there. Who knows? Maybe we can make it work. So again, here's another close-up. To me, this is the centerpiece of this actual release, which is the Steven Spielberg action figure itself. So there we go. And we'll keep a focus shot of him in there for a while, just so you get a better look at what you're going to expect if indeed you go ahead and purchase this one on the secondary market. You know, maybe there's a chance that you'll be able to get it at some point as a retail exclusive, if not anything else. I know the Richard Attenborough one was actually a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but again, I purchased him in a 2-pack with Dr. Ellie Sattler. Didn't come with the cool stuff that you got with the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but at least this way you're getting an action figure of Sir Richard Attenborough. So I'm going to take one more pause. When I come back, I will show you Steven Spielberg on a different movie set, since I think this is going to be a multi-purpose figure. Okay, here's one final look at the Steven Spielberg exclusive action figure, the San Diego Comic-Con 2023 exclusive action figure from Mattel. And of course, this is in conjunction of the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, which came out in 1993. The little clapboard in the back, the packaging clapboard says 9992 from that particular day on the set. Yeah, so you get the figure, you get the Spielberg director's chair, you get the camera. And, you know, look, I mean, even though this film was made more than 10 years prior to Jurassic Park, why not recreate that setting from the fertility idol scene, for example, from Raiders of the Lost Ark? I mean, you know, Spielberg made a lot of Raiders movies in the 80s, so you can do it with Temple of Doom figures. You can do it with the Last Crusade figures. Of course, all of those figures are from Hasbro, but you know what? I think that they look pretty good together. So if you have those figures, why not? Why not recreate the behind the cameras happenings, the behind the camera happenings from those movies as well? Maybe even E.T. if you got smaller E.T. action figures. So obviously this came as an exclusive from the Comic-Con for the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park. So with this set comes the Spielberg figure, the chair, the camera, and the Dilophosaurus. $30 altogether. I say it's absolutely worth it, because for the first time we're getting a Steven Spielberg action figure. Now you might say, well, there was a Lego figure in the Movie Maker. Yeah, that's true, but we're talking about a 3 3/4 inch figure now, which is something that we clearly haven't gotten before. And you know what? With any luck, I mean, I know Mattel has produced 6-inch action figures of different characters, so why not do it for Spielberg as well? Hopefully they are going to do that, so you can put it with the new Hasbro Adventure Series for Indiana Jones and pose it with those figures as well. And, you know, maybe at some point Hasbro will produce a Steven Spielberg action figure from when he was making the Raiders of the Lost Ark in the Indiana Jones movie. So who knows? If you like this video, please hit the button below. Please hit the button for notifications, and please subscribe. Tell all your Steven Spielberg loving friends, your Jurassic Park loving friends. And I will be back soon with another video on my Cool Movie Toys channel. Happy toy hunting, everybody.